So what if I told you that getting rich has less to do with how smart you are and a whole lot more to do with how you behave? That's the big idea in Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. He argues that financial success isn't really a hard science, it's a soft skill. And to really see what he means, let's dive into the story of two very, very different men.
I mean, on the surface, this isn't even a contest, right? On one side, you have Ronald Reed, a man who spent his life fixing cars and sweeping floors. On the other, you've got Richard Fuscone, a Harvard-educated finance executive who is literally praised for his business smarts. You'd think you know exactly how this story is going to end, but you'd be wrong. You see, when Ronald Reed died at age 92, this humble janitor actually made international headlines. And why? Because he had quietly built up a fortune of over $8 million. He just saved what little he could, he invested it in solid blue-chip stocks, and then he just waited. And the best part? He left most of it to his local hospital and library.
And Richard Fuscone, the Harvard MBA, well, after borrowing a ton of money to keep up this lavish lifestyle, the 2008 financial crisis completely wiped him out. He had to declare bankruptcy. His enormous 18,000 square foot mansion, I'm talking 11 bathrooms, 2 pools, the whole shebang, it was sold in a foreclosure auction for just a fraction of what it was worth.
So, how on earth is this possible? How does a janitor with zero financial training outperform a finance guru? It's because managing money isn't really about what you know, it's all about how you behave. And our behavior is shaped by some deeply personal and often pretty counterintuitive forces.
So let's start with the first big idea. No one is crazy. The financial decisions you make might seem totally bizarre to me, and mine might seem insane to you. But here's the thing. They all make perfect sense to us based on our own unique experiences in the world.
Just think about that for a second. This tiny, microscopic slice of history that you've personally lived through, it dictates almost your entire worldview about how money works. It explains why we all get anchored to a set of beliefs that can be just worlds apart from the person standing next to us.
For example, let's talk about the stock market. If you were born in 1970, you would have seen the S&P 500 go up nearly tenfold during your teens and 20s. So for you, stocks are this amazing wealth-generating machine. But if you were born just 20 years earlier, in 1950, that same market went absolutely nowhere for that same part of your life. You'd probably see it as a stagnant, risky gamble. It's the same market, but two completely different lessons are learned.
Or what about inflation? Someone born in the 60s probably watched prices more than triple in their formative years. They remember gas lines, paychecks that just didn't stretch far enough. But someone born in 1990? Inflation has been so low for most of their life, it's probably never even crossed their mind. And these aren't small differences, you know? They create completely different instincts about saving, about spending, and about taking risks.
But it's not just our personal experiences that are pulling the strings. Even with the absolute best behavior, our lives are guided by these powerful external forces we often forget about: luck and risk.
You got to think of luck and risk as siblings. They're two sides of the same coin. They're the reality that the world is just way too complex for 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. You really can't believe that someone's success is due to luck without also accepting that someone's failure could be due to risk.
So what were the odds that a teenage Bill Gates would happen to go to Lakeside, one of the only high schools in the entire world that had a computer back in 1968? About 1 in a million. And this wasn't just some small advantage, it was a 1 in a million head start. Gates himself said, if there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft. Now that is luck.
But here's the thing. Gates wasn't alone. He had a best friend, Kent Evans. And by Gates' own account, Kent was just as smart, just as skilled with computers, and shared the exact same boundless ambition. They were going to conquer the world, together.
And what were the odds of Kent Evans dying in a mountaineering accident before he even graduated high school? Also about 1 in a million. The exact same force, that 1 in a million chance, just working in the opposite direction. For every Bill Gates, there's a Kent Evans who was just as skilled, just as driven, but ended up on the tragic side of life's roulette wheel. And that is risk.
Okay, so if our behavior is shaped by our unique past, and our outcomes are constantly being pushed and pulled by luck and risk, what's the one skill that actually matters? Well, it's probably not what you think.
This single fact just blows my mind, and it reveals the true secret to Warren Buffett's success. It isn't just that he's a great investor, it's that he's been a great investor for 3/4 of a century. His skill is investing, sure, but his secret weapon is time. That's the powerful, undeniable magic of compounding.
You know, his real genius might be what he didn't do. He consistently, time and time again, just avoided ruin. He survived every single recession, every bear market, every panic, without getting wiped out or being forced to quit the game. That longevity, that survival, is what allowed compounding to do its incredible work. See, getting money is one thing, but keeping it, that's a totally different game.
Getting wealthy often means taking big risks, being optimistic, putting yourself out there. But staying wealthy, that requires the total opposite. It requires humility. It requires a healthy dose of fear, even paranoia, to know that what you've built can be taken away just as fast. The mindset that helps you keep your money is fundamentally different from the one that helps you make it in the first place.
And that right there is the ultimate lesson from all of this. More than chasing huge returns, the most important financial skill is just to be unbreakable. To survive the inevitable chaos, the ups and the downs, so you can just stick around long enough for the odds to eventually fall in your favor. So I'll leave you with this thought. What's one thing you could do today to make your financial life just a little more unbreakable?